Thanks for joining me. It's another edition of the program. It is Guest of the Week. I am your host, Jane Maduabuna. The saying goes that knowledge is being aware of what you can do, but wisdom is knowing when not to do it. I welcome you. Now, for my guest on this edition of the program, he is a professor of physics, specializing in solar energy and material science. Let me quickly take you through his educational background. For this, he started at Isiaku Central School in Nsukka to obtain his first school living certificate. This was in 1976. For his secondary education, he attended Nsukka High School to obtain his West Africa School certificate, and this was in 1981. Now, he went ahead to do his postgraduate diploma in satellite meteorology and global climate, and he obtained this in August 2002. His first degree, Bachelor of Science in Physics, was obtained at Anambra State University of Science and Technology, then ASUTEC, Enugu. This was between 1983 to 1987. He went ahead for his master's degree, still in physics, at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, and he obtained this in December 1990. For his PhD, he also majored in physics, and this was from the same university, University of Nigeria in Nsukka, and he obtained this in November 2000. He became a professor in the year 2011 at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka. Who is my guest? You'll be meeting him right after this timeout. Stay with me. Welcome back. Now time to meet my guest, and let me introduce you to Professor Fabian Ifeanyichukwu Ezema. Welcome to this program.
Thank you very much.
All right, sir. Prof, reading through your CV, I saw that you started as a lecturer, and your career as a teacher then started with UNN from 1998 to 1999. Then you moved on in that cadre to become lecturer 2, lecturer 1, and senior lecturer. My question is this: in all of these years, what has been your contribution to human development in the area of teaching?
Well, in terms of teaching, as assistant lecturer, I continued in the area of mentoring young students from undergraduate, and then up to senior lecturer. I went into supervising undergraduate as well as postgraduate students, and I've had a lot of them that actually passed through me, and they are doing very well today. So in terms of teaching, yes, students are doing very well and succeeding. In terms of research as well, the students are also doing very well.
Now, for teachers, sometimes one may wonder, how do you monitor your own effectiveness? Is it when they come out well, or how really do you know that you're succeeding, you're doing very well?
Yeah, when you interact with students, you give them assignments, they do it, they return to you. You give them what we may call tutorials sometimes, which they have to solve, bring it back, and then from this tutorial, they will prepare for the exam. And then during the exam, if they are able to go through the teaching and then the tutorial assignments given to them, and then once they do the little they're supposed to do, that tells you whether they are doing well or not. And for sure, exam is not actually all. You have to see them through the assignment, and assignment is part of the exam. So if a student is doing well in the assignment, then you are sure that he will also do well in the exam.
Okay. Now, you became a professor of physics at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka in 2011.
Yes.
And you specialized in solar energy and material science. What's the place of this, in the society? Solar energy. We need energy daily to do a lot of things. In fact, without energy, it is difficult for any nation to develop. Nigeria is really going through a lot in this direction. What you studied, how really have we gained the society from what you've studied?
Yeah, solar energy, actually, Africa is blessed because we are actually having a lot in terms of the radiation from the sun, and it's given to us free. A lot of people from outside Africa tends to look for it. Some people don't have a light from the sun for about 24 hours, but we have it almost 12 hours in a day. So in my research, we have tried to look at how we can harness the energy from the sun in order to use it for our own good, increase our use of energy in terms of daylight, night, and then in terms of equipment which we use at homes. But what we are just doing is sort of a basic research in which we try to show that it is possible to harness the energy from the sun and use it. But for us to do this, we need a high-tech equipment which we are not getting as at this time in Nigeria.
What's hindering that?
Well, should I say it is the will to do it, because we have the money, we have whatever is required, we have the knowledge, we have everything, but this will to get into this aspect of carrying out the research is the problem. I know that some time ago at Abuja, the Naseni were working hard in order to develop a plant to manufacture solar panels, which we can use to harness the sun energy from the sun. But at a point, it got stopped. But individually, we are trying to do a little research. In my research group, we started with little 10. My students started using some extracts to develop what we call Dyson-style solar cell. We moved from that and moved into thin film solar cell. From that, we moved again into what we call now perovskite solar cells. But we are only at what I may call basic level, even though we are getting some efficiencies. If we actually expand it and try to mass produce, we'll be able to get enough that will be able to power a building, a house, and whatever we want to.
Okay. I saw that you've also held some administrative positions. Let me start with you being Director International Office, UNN, between 2014 to 2017. What did you do within that period? Well,
my coming into that office, I should say, is, let me put it this way, that the Vice Chancellor created the office at that time and wanted somebody who is actually good in research to head the office. Okay. As at that time, he requested the Senate to approve for nomination of somebody who is going to be the director. And then he actually found me out to be the director, which I held for this period. Unfortunately, because it's a new office, there wasn't much in place. Okay. All we were just considering at this point was collaboration from different universities. And then we have a lot of collaboration within this period from different universities all over the world.
All right. As board member, University Senate representative, this was from 2015. Until date, you are still there. What's your duty?
Yeah, the Senate rep for Energy, yes. Energy Commission, Energy Research Development, University of Nigeria. Well, my position at this point is, while they are doing some work in Energy Research Center at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, I have the opportunity to go there, see what they are doing, and see whether they are actually following the mandate which is given to them. And that is what I do as a rep to the University of Nigeria. And we used to have a board meeting which comprises other people from other sections, from Abuja and so on, where we look at what they are doing, whether it is within the mandate given to them.
You were coordinator, Natural Sciences, School of General Studies, from 2010 to 2011, then 2014 to 2017. What did you do within these years?
Well, as administrative officer, you just look at day-to-day activities of what is happening in the unit. And then majorly because our interest is the students, you have to guide the students. You have to make sure that the staff under you are actually doing the work they're supposed to do in order to attend to the students. And in the end, you coordinate the exam that is for the students.
All right. You also rose to become Dean, Faculty of Natural and Applied Sciences, this time for Coal City University, Enugu. I think it was on sabbatical leave?
Yes, on sabbatical.
Okay, 2017 to 2018. What did you do differently to enhance that faculty within that short time?
Well, as a foundation dean, we made sure that all the departments under that faculty were well established. And up to now, if you go there, what we did there speaks for itself. As a private university, I think they are doing very well at the moment.
Okay.
So we laid a good foundation for them.
All right. I also saw that you held other non-university statutory administrative positions. I read through those. Coordinator, Sandwich Unit, Department of Physics and Astronomy, 2001 to 2018. It was really long. What did you do to make sure that things run smoothly at the Sandwich Unit?
Yeah, as you can see, it's not actually the mandate of the department, but they still pass through the department because it's a sort of sandwich program, in which case you make sure that within a short space of period, the students will get whatever they want. And so within this short period that the students will come, we coordinate their classwork, assign lecturers to them, assign courses to them, and then at the end, they go for the exam. And so we process everything and send to the sandwich unit, which now puts their results to them.
Okay. You were also coordinator, Nano Research Group for University of Nigeria and Nsukka. And I saw another one, which is coordinator, Solar Energy and Material Science Group, Department of Physics and Astronomy. Now, for Nano Research Group, University of Nigeria and Nsukka, what is really the place of nanotechnology, in Nigeria, maybe in national development, really, for us?
Yeah, this is a new area of science that is actually trending in the world. In fact, we are moving from traditional science into this new science, in which case so many courses are brought together and then they contribute to make sure that we have a new science which gives us new devices and then gives us a new way of living. This nanomaterials and nanotechnology, as it's called, combines physics, chemistry, biology, then medicine and then engineering in order to stand out to give us what we need. Under nanoscience, we look at size of things, in which case, when things are very small, they start to behave differently. In fact, if you look at some colors, within a little change in temperature, they change from green to red.
Yes. And
then this tells you that the size are changing. So within this domain where you have a very small size, materials behave differently. And then you can now cash into their behavior to design whichever equipment you want. And that is why it works very well in engineering and medicine. And then a lot of people are now using it to its advantage.
Okay, that's really good to know. Computers also can.
Computers, yeah, engineering throughout computers.
Okay, all right. Now, you belong to some professional bodies. I saw member Nigerian Institute of Physics, member Material Society of Nigeria, MSN, member Solar Energy Society of Nigeria, member African Nanosciences Networks. I saw one member American Physical Society, APS. In all of this membership, what has it helped you to do differently for the society?
Yeah, belonging to these societies has actually helped me to collaborate with a lot of scientists and has opened wider doors for me to understand more of what is happening in science. And then through that, I've been able to visit different labs and then do some researches with them, understand how they do things, come back to Nigeria and try to apply it in our own environment.
All right. You are still watching Guest of the Week this day. We will take a short break and we'll return. Stay with me. Welcome back. My guest is still with me talking about Professor Fabian Ifeanyichukwu Ezema.
Yeah.
All right. You've been principal researcher and co-researcher to a number of projects. And I was reading through them. Many of them, one caught my attention. It has to do with the bitter leaf and Utazi. What was it all about and what came out of that?
Yeah, traditionally, bitter leaf is a very good, should I call it, material which you can use for making soup and sometimes for health. And Utazi, the same thing. So when we looked at this, we say it is medicinal in nature. Okay. And then we want to see how it works under the nanotechnology. So what we did was to extract what makes up bitter leaf and Utazi. And when we extracted it, we used that extract to look at some nanoparticles, see whether we can reduce them to a size where it can be used in human beings. There are some chemicals that are harmful to the body, but when you get them to a level, they can be used to a size. They can be used in the system and then used to drive some drugs to reach to a particular place. And then sometimes at a smaller size, you can use it to challenge some bacteria, to clear them, kill them, or make them redundant so that they won't be active.
All right. Now, how can Nigeria as a nation, we have many professors, people that are well read, but really when it comes to the practical aspects, we're not putting our professors to use. How can this be done?
The government has to. You know, we have a lot of research institutes, but what is given to them? Nothing. You go to some research institutes, they don't have anything. Go to Energy Center in Nigeria, they are supposed to work primarily on this energy issue and produce cells that can be used. But when you get there, there's nothing at all to show there is something going on. You go to so many research institutes which are made available to us by the government, but the funding is not there. What we need is government to fund these institutes and make sure that it's viable.
Okay. In the course of your job and what you've been doing, you've received some awards of excellence. Could you share a few that maybe mattered to you in life?
Well, the one that actually was so good to me as a person and which I enjoyed most was the first award that I got outside Nigeria. That is C.V. Raman Fellowship. That was the first award that I got. Took me outside Nigeria and I saw clearly how research is being done. And that helped me a lot to come back. And after I did some of the work, I got another one from Japan, MIF, which actually again put me in a place where I saw advanced labs. But each time I come back, I find myself actually demoralized because such equipments are not here for me to work with. And so I continue to look for where to go. And recently I got another one, I think 2019, to South Africa, where I spent 1 year to do a research on perovskite solar cell, how to develop a cell that is using a new material to harness energy. And then the work we did was so good, we got efficiency up to about 15, which is really very good.
All right. You've been both an internal and external examiner and assessor to many universities, both within Nigeria and outside. I saw many universities, and you've also played a supervisory roles, both for masters, doctoral degree programs. In all of this, how have you fared when you work with these students at their different levels?
Well, my former student is an international scholar now with a grant. The grant she has now from UK is putting her on a plane of being one of the foremost researchers in Africa.
Now, looking at you, sir, you have done a lot of research. You have co-organized conferences, you know, with great minds, researchers, and when you people come together, I'm sure beautiful things come out of it.
Yeah, well, at this point, I would want to acknowledge one particular person, Engineer Emeka Okosa. He is actually the person behind all the conferences we have been organizing. He pays for the international speakers that we invite, paid for their flights, bring them in. Some of them, he asks them to bring equipment while coming, and he pays for it. He spends a lot to make sure that we organize these conferences. And we have had top researchers from all over the world coming for the conference. And they have contributed so much in terms of bringing in their knowledge and then some research facilities into the system, which is helping us to actually compete internationally.
All right. What are those qualities that have helped you to come out very well as a person?
Well, quality. Well, I should think that I try to, as much as I can, work hard, as much as I can be honest, as much as I can, I try to make sure that I'm quite myself in doing what I am doing.
If you are to advise the younger ones who are looking up to you for reaching the zenith of your career, in what way would you advise them so that they too can come out better?
Well, those that I work with actually understand what we are saying now. They should work hard, get focused, and make sure that once they are out to achieve a thing, they should not go back, no matter the challenges that they will face.
All right. Well, that has been it on this edition of the program. You've heard it from my guest, talking about Professor Fabian Ifeanyichukwu Ezema. He says, young people, please remain focused, be hardworking, and when you start a thing, follow through. Make sure you get to the end of it. Definitely, you will also succeed like he has succeeded. I want to thank you, Prof, for making our time to be with us on this program today.
Thank you very much.
All right, I have been your host, Jane Madwabuna. I'll see you again next week. Thanks, and God bless.